everyone, today I am excited to show you how to make some fruit tarts with custard cream that is so delicious. Let's get started. I start by making the crust of the tarts. I mix in the flour and the powdered sugar. Then I add in the butter and I incorporate it with my hands. It needs to become a sandy mixture, just like this. Now I cracked in an egg and I mix it first with a spoon and then with my hands. I finish compacting the dough in the counter and allow it to absorb all the extra flour. It doesn't take long at all, just the time necessary to give it a shape. I flatten it out a little bit so it cools down faster. I cover it in saran wrap and I let it sit in the fridge for about an hour. Then I sprinkle a very small amount of flour in the counter and I start rolling out the dough. If it starts to stick too much on the rolling pin, slightly flour it too. I try to make the dough of the same thickness all around. It needs to be about this thick. I cut out the shapes with this flour cookie cutter, but you can also use a simple circle one too, and I set aside the extra dough. I'll give you two options on how you can bake these tarts. The first one is by using a muffin tin, butter it slightly and place the tarts in it just like this. Poke them with a fork to make them cook evenly and then add in some parchment paper muffin liners and put in some weights to avoid that the crust rises while it's baking. I simply use some dried beans, nothing special, which are a perfect replacement to the actual professional baking weights. The second option to make these tarts is to use 2 parchment paper tins per tart, put them upside down and set the dough on top of it, just like this. I repeat the same steps also for the remaining dough. Alright, now the tarts are ready to go in a preheated oven at 350 Fahrenheit for about 18-20 minutes. Now it's the time to make the custard cream. I start by heating up some milk. I use unsweetened almond milk, but any milk works. I add right away the inside of a vanilla pod and also the empty pod so that it infuses in the milk and give it that amazing vanilla flavor. And I also like to grate in the zest of a lemon because I love that citrus aroma. While the milk heats up, in a separate pot I cracked in 2 eggs and I sift in some cornstarch. I whisk them up well until there are no clumps. And I add in some granulated sugar. Once the milk is very hot, just before it starts to boil, I pour it in the pot with the other ingredients and I filter out all the pieces of vanilla and lemon, even if the aroma will still be in there. I give it a stir and I bring the pot to the burner for just a few minutes. I keep whisking until the cream will start to become thicker. Once I see that it's about to boil, I take it off the stove. Keep in mind that the more you cook it, the thicker it will get. And I advise to leave it a little bit more liquid because it will get slightly denser once it's completely cooled down. I take the tarts out of the oven and I let both the tarts and the cream cool down. I strongly suggest to use the white parchment paper liners because I noticed that these actually release their color onto the tarts and that's definitely not good. I had to scrape it off with a knife. I usually always buy the white ones, but they didn't have them at the store and I really didn't think it through. So don't make the same mistake. Once everything has cooled down a bit, I fill up the tarts. I decorate them with some fresh fruits. The typical ones that are often used in Italy are like kiwi, strawberries, and mixed berries. You can pick other fruit too, but try to avoid the ones that tend to brown quickly, like bananas or apple, for example. The tarts are ready. They last in the fridge for up to 3 days, but I doubt they'll last that long. Enjoy! So, what do you think of these fruit tarts? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel for new weekly recipes. Bye guys!